Virgo season 2026 is here, and the energy of the zodiac is about to change dramatically. After the bold, expressive, fiery energy of Leo season, the sun moves into practical, grounded Virgo on August 22nd. And suddenly the question changes. Leo season asked, "What makes you feel alive?" Virgo season asks, "Now what are you going to do about it?" Virgo is a mutable earth sign ruled by Mercury, the planet of communication, thinking, planning, and information. But Virgo doesn't just want ideas. Virgo wants ideas that actually work. This is the season of organization, routines, health, work, productivity, problem solving, and paying attention to the details we've been ignoring. It's about looking at our lives honestly and asking, what's working? What's wasting my time? What needs improvement? And what needs to go? That can make Virgo season feel very different from the energy we've just experienced. Leo wants to create, celebrate, take risks, and be seen. Virgo comes in afterward with the editing pen. Says, "Great. Now let's make it better." And that's an important distinction, because Virgo energy isn't about perfection for perfection's sake. At its best, Virgo is about refinement. It's taking something with potential and turning it into something useful, sustainable, and real. But Virgo does have a shadow side. We may become overly critical of ourselves or other people. We can obsess over tiny problems, overthink decisions, or convince ourselves that nothing is good enough yet. So one of the biggest lessons of Virgo season is learning the difference between improvement and perfectionism. And Virgo season 2026 carries even more weight because we're entering it during a powerful period of transition. We are coming off the energy of the August 12th solar eclipse in Leo, which may have already started pushing changes involving identity, creativity, confidence, romance, or the direction we want our lives to take. Then, shortly after Virgo season begins, Mercury enters Virgo on August 25th. Mercury rules Virgo, so this strengthens the season's emphasis on thinking clearly, organizing our lives, having important conversations, making plans, and figuring out the practical details behind the changes we want to make. And then comes one of the biggest astrological moments of the season, the Pisces lunar eclipse around August 27th and 28th. This activates the Virgo-Pisces axis, the balance between order and surrender, logic and intuition, responsibility and faith. Virgo wants a plan. Pisces reminds us that we can't control everything. That makes this Virgo season less about simply making a better to-do list and more about deciding what actually deserves a place on that list in the first place. Something may need to be completed, released, reorganized, or approached differently before we can move forward. So throughout Virgo season 2026, pay attention to where life is asking you to simplify. Where are you wasting energy? Or have your routines stopped supporting you? What have you been procrastinating on? And where are you demanding perfection when progress would be more than enough? Because this season isn't asking you to completely reinvent your life overnight. It's asking you to make the small changes that eventually create a very different life. And depending on your zodiac sign, Virgo season will activate a different area of your world. For some signs, this could mean major developments involving career and money. For others, the focus turns toward love and relationships, health and daily routines, home and family, or personal and spiritual growth. So let's go through all 12 zodiac signs and find out exactly what Virgo season 2026 means for you. Aries, Virgo season 2026 turns your attention toward your daily routines, work, health, habits, and responsibilities. After the excitement and creative energy of Leo season, Virgo season asks you to get serious about the details. You may suddenly notice where your schedule has become chaotic, where you're wasting time, or where you've taken on responsibilities that aren't actually helping you move forward. In career and money, this is an excellent time to become more organized. Clean up unfinished projects, tighten your budget, improve your workflow, and pay attention to the small things that could eventually produce much bigger results. When Mercury enters Virgo, conversations involving work, schedules, responsibilities, or new opportunities may become especially important. Emotionally, though, be careful about becoming frustrated when everything doesn't happen as quickly as you'd like. Virgo energy moves through preparation and precision, while Aries prefers action. The Pisces lunar eclipse may also remind you that rest is productive too. Something you've been carrying privately could be ready for release. Your Virgo season message, Aries. You don't always need to push harder. Sometimes you need a better system. Taurus, Virgo season activates one of the more enjoyable areas of your chart. Creativity, romance, pleasure, self-expression, and the things that genuinely make you happy. As a fellow Earth sign, Virgo energy tends to work well with your natural approach to life. Instead of forcing dramatic change, you're being encouraged to take something you already value and make it stronger. For relationships, this could be an important season. Singles may become more selective about who deserves their time, while couples could focus on improving the everyday quality of the relationship. Virgo doesn't necessarily want grand romantic gestures. It asks whether someone actually shows up when it matters. Career and money can benefit from creativity as well. A hobby, personal project, or talent you've underestimated may deserve more serious attention. The Pisces lunar eclipse could bring changes within friendships, groups, or your larger social world. You may realize that you've outgrown certain connections, or discover which people genuinely support the person you're becoming. Your Virgo season message, Taurus. Make more room for what brings you joy, and less room for what merely takes up space. Gemini, Virgo season 2026 brings the focus closer to home. The sun moves through the part of your chart connected with home, family, your living environment, emotional foundations, and your private life. You may feel a strong desire to organize your surroundings, resolve a family issue, make changes at home, or simply create more stability. And because Mercury rules both Gemini and Virgo, Mercury entering Virgo could make this especially noticeable for you. Conversations you've been avoiding may need to happen. Career matters could also reach a turning point around the Pisces lunar eclipse. Something involving your professional direction, reputation, responsibilities, or long-term ambitions may become clearer. You could realize that one chapter of your career has run its course, or that you're ready to pursue something more meaningful. The challenge is balancing your public ambitions with what you need privately. Gemini spends a lot of time processing the world through the mind. Virgo season asks you to look underneath all that mental activity and ask a simpler question. Do I actually feel grounded? Your Virgo season message, Gemini. Build a strong foundation first. Everything else becomes easier from there. Cancer, Virgo season puts the spotlight on communication, learning, conversations, planning short trips, and the way you process information. You may find yourself busier than usual, answering messages, handling paperwork, making appointments, researching something important, or having conversations that have been sitting on the back burner. When Mercury enters Virgo, your mind becomes especially active. That's fantastic for writing, studying, planning, negotiating, or learning something new. Watch the tendency to overthink every little detail. In relationships, communication becomes the key. Don't expect someone to readily know what you're feeling. Virgo season encourages you to be specific about what you need instead of hoping other people will figure it out. The Pisces lunar eclipse could also broaden your perspective. Beliefs, travel plans, education, spirituality, or your vision of the future may undergo a shift. Something that you believed was true may suddenly look very different. And that isn't necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes growth happens when we're willing to admit that we've learned enough to change our minds. Your Virgo season message, Cancer. Say what needs to be said, ask the questions you need answered, and stay open to seeing life from a completely different perspective. Leo, after spending the past month with the spotlight firmly on you, Virgo season shifts your attention towards something much more practical. Money, income, possessions, security, and self-worth. Leo season may have encouraged you to think about who you're becoming and what you want next. Virgo season asks how you're going to build the financial and practical foundation to support it. This is an excellent time to review your spending, organize your finances, look for ways to increase your income, or finally deal with a financial issue you've been putting off. Virgo energy rewards attention to detail, so even small changes in how you manage your money could make a noticeable difference over time. But this season isn't only about your bank account. It's also about what you believe you're worth. In relationships, pay attention to whether there's a healthy balance between giving and receiving. The Pisces lunar eclipse could bring an emotional or financial issue involving intimacy, trust, shared resources, debt, or dependency to the surface. Something may need to be renegotiated or released completely. Your Virgo season message, Leo. Know your value, protect your resources, and invest your energy where you're actually receiving something valuable in return. Virgo, this is your season. The sun moves into your sign, putting the focus directly on your identity, confidence, appearance, personal goals, and the direction you want your life to take next. Think of this as your personal reset. You've spent the weeks leading up to Virgo season processing, reflecting, and possibly closing out an old chapter. Now you're being invited to step forward and decide what you want the next version of your life to look like. And with Mercury entering your sign, your mind may be overflowing with ideas. This can be an excellent period for making plans, communicating your intentions, starting projects, changing routines, or finally making a decision you've been analyzing for months. Just remember, your greatest strength can also become your biggest obstacle. You don't need the perfect plan before you begin. Relationships could become especially significant around the Pisces lunar eclipse, which activates the partnership area of your chart. A relationship may deepen, change direction, reach a turning point, or reveal something you can no longer ignore. This isn't necessarily about endings. It's about clarity. Your Virgo season message, Virgo. Stop waiting until everything is perfect. This is your season to choose yourself, trust what you've learned, and move forward. Libra, Virgo season pulls you away from the noise and into a much quieter part of your chart. This season emphasizes rest, reflection, closure, your subconscious, spirituality, and the things happening behind the scenes. You may feel more introspective than usual. Your social battery could run down faster, and you may find yourself needing more time alone to think about everything that's happened over the past year. Don't fight that. Virgo season is helping you clear emotional and mental clutter before Libra season arrives and the spotlight turns back toward you. Career and money matters may require work behind the scenes rather than immediate recognition. Finish what you've started. Organize your plans. Prepare quietly. Not everything needs to be announced before it's ready. The Pisces lunar eclipse could also bring attention to your work, health, responsibilities, or daily routine. If you've been pushing yourself too hard or living with a schedule that simply isn't sustainable, something may force you to reconsider how you're spending your time and energy. In relationships, old feelings or unresolved situations could resurface. Not necessarily because they're meant to return, but because you're finally ready to understand them differently. Your Virgo season message, Libra. You don't have to carry everything into your next chapter. Decide what deserves to come with you and leave the rest behind. Scorpio, Virgo season turns your attention toward friendships, community, networking, long-term goals, and the future you're trying to create. This is a season for looking beyond what's happening today and asking where you want to be 6 months, a year, or even several years from now. Who belongs in that future with you? You may become much more selective about the people around you. Some friendships could strengthen because you recognize how dependable they really are, while other connections may begin to feel one-sided, superficial, or simply outdated. Career-wise, networking could be surprisingly important. Someone in your wider circle could provide information, introduce you to an opportunity, or help you see a path you hadn't considered. But the Pisces lunar eclipse brings a much more personal question to the surface. What makes you happy? Romance, creativity, pleasure, children, or a passion project could reach an emotional turning point. You may rediscover something you once loved, or finally acknowledge that something you've been pursuing no longer brings you the same joy. For single Scorpios, romantic developments could become especially revealing. For couples, this may be about bringing more playfulness, affection, or genuine emotional connection back into the relationship. Your Virgo season message, Scorpio: be intentional about your future. But don't become so focused on where you're going that you forget to create a life you actually enjoy living. Sagittarius, Virgo season 2026 puts a major spotlight on your career, reputation, ambitions, achievements, and long-term direction. This is one of the strongest periods of the year for taking your professional life seriously. You may receive more attention for your work, take on additional responsibility, pursue a new opportunity, or realize that you've outgrown your current direction. Virgo energy asks you to turn your big ideas into an actual strategy. Sagittarius is naturally good at seeing possibilities, but this season asks, what's the plan? What needs to happen first? And which details have you been overlooking? When Mercury enters Virgo, career conversations, applications, negotiations, interviews, or decisions about your professional future could become especially important. Financially, focus less on instant results and more on building something sustainable. Meanwhile, the Pisces lunar eclipse activates your home and family sector. You could experience an emotional turning point involving your living situation, family relationships, or your sense of belonging. That creates an important balancing act between where you're going professionally and what you need personally. Your Virgo season message, Sagittarius: dream big, but give the dream a deadline, a strategy, and a practical way forward. Capricorn, Virgo season encourages you to expand your world. The focus moves toward travel, education, spirituality, publishing, legal matters, new experiences, and the beliefs that shape how you see your future. As a fellow Earth sign, Virgo energy generally works well for you. You're already comfortable with planning and long-term goals, but this season asks whether the path you're following is still taking you somewhere you actually want to go. You could decide to learn something new, pursue additional training, plan an important trip, or explore an opportunity that takes you outside your normal environment. Career-wise, knowledge could become especially valuable. Don't underestimate what a new skill, certification, connection, or piece of information could eventually do for your earning potential. Relationships may also benefit from getting out of predictable routines. Sometimes reconnecting doesn't require fixing a problem. It simply requires experiencing something different together. The Pisces lunar eclipse could bring an important conversation, decision, announcement, or realization. Information may emerge that changes how you understand a situation. Your Virgo season message, Capricorn: you don't always need to work harder. Sometimes you need a bigger perspective and a different road forward. Aquarius, Virgo season takes you beneath the surface. The sun moves through the area of your chart associated with shared finances, debt, investments, taxes, intimacy, trust, vulnerability, and emotional transformation. This isn't necessarily the lightest part of the chart, but it can be incredibly productive. Financially, this is a good time to organize anything involving money you share with someone else. Review debts, subscriptions, insurance, loans, investments, or financial agreements. Details matter now, so don't ignore paperwork or assume everything will sort itself out. Relationships become deeper as well. Virgo season may reveal where you need stronger boundaries, or where keeping your guard up has prevented genuine intimacy. Aquarius can sometimes intellectualize emotions that are much messier underneath. This season asks you to actually deal with them. And the Pisces lunar eclipse could bring a turning point involving your own income, possessions, security, or self-worth. A financial pattern may need to change, or you may finally recognize that you've been undervaluing what you bring to the table. Your Virgo season message, Aquarius: get clear about what you owe, what you're owed, what you share, and what you're no longer willing to give away. Pisces, Virgo season 2026 puts the spotlight directly on your relationships and partnerships. Virgo is your opposite sign, so when the sun moves through Virgo, attention naturally turns toward the people standing across from you: romantic partners, close friendships, business partnerships, and important one-on-one relationships. This can become a season of defining relationships more clearly. For singles, you may become much more aware of what you actually need from a partner rather than simply being attracted to someone's potential. For couples, practical issues could become important. Are responsibilities balanced? Are you communicating clearly? Are both people putting effort into building the relationship? Virgo wants evidence, not promises. But the biggest story may be the Pisces lunar eclipse occurring in your sign. This could bring an intensely personal realization involving your identity, emotions, needs, appearance, direction, or the person you've become. You may recognize that you've changed, and some relationships may need to change along with you. The Virgo-Pisces axis asks you to balance compassion with boundaries, intuition with reality, and caring for other people with caring for yourself. You don't have to stop being compassionate. You simply have to remember that you belong in the equation too. Your Virgo season message, Pisces: choose relationships that support who you're becoming, not relationships that require you to become smaller in order to keep them. And that is Virgo season 2026 for all 12 zodiac signs. This season reminds us that transformation doesn't always arrive through one enormous, dramatic moment. Sometimes, it happens through the small decisions we make every single day. The routine you finally change, the conversation you stop avoiding, the boundary you finally enforce, the expense you eliminate, the project you finish, or the habit you realize you simply don't need anymore. After the confidence, creativity, and self-expression of Leo season, Virgo asks us to take everything we've discovered about ourselves and put it into practice. And with the Pisces lunar eclipse bringing powerful emotional energy into this season, we may also discover that not everything can, or should, be fixed. Some things need organization. Some things need improvement. And some things simply need to be released. That's the balance between Virgo and Pisces. Knowing when to make a plan and knowing when it's time to surrender what you can no longer control. So as you move through Virgo season 2026, don't pressure yourself to have everything figured out. Focus on progress instead of perfection. Pay attention to the details, take care of your physical and emotional well-being, protect your time and energy, and make practical choices that support the future you're trying to create. Because sometimes the biggest changes in life begin with something incredibly simple. Deciding that you're ready to do things differently. If you enjoyed this forecast, please like this video, subscribe to Celestial Zodiac, and let me know in the comments what your zodiac sign is and what you're hoping to change, improve, or leave behind during Virgo season. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next horoscope.